Subscribe to our YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to get all the latest updates.
Allow me to make some opening remarks. Excellencies, distinguished participants, on behalf of Her Excellency Ambassador Trine Hammerback and myself, it is my pleasure to welcome you all today to the joint open briefing of the Counter-Terrorism Committee and the 1267-1989-2253 ISIL and Al-Qaeda Sanctions Committee on the topic of ISIL in Africa, nature of threat and responses. In the last 5 years, we have witnessed the significant rise of ISIL in Africa as manifested by the territorial expansion of its affiliates such as the Islamic State in the Greater Sahara, Islamic State Central Africa Province, Islamic State in West Africa Province, and other regional cells taking into its fold many states. ISIL's aspirations on the continent significantly compound the conflict landscape and the already serious terrorist threats posed by Al-Qaeda and its affiliates and other established groups such as Al-Shabaab and Boko Haram. This is particularly apparent in the context of the Sahel, West Africa, and Lake Chad Basin regions where ISIL and Al-Qaeda affiliates have posed an existential threat to several states by exploiting local grievances, overwhelming stretched security forces, and navigating complex relationship between armed groups. The authorities are challenged to dedicate even more attention, resources, and energy to addressing the threat of terrorist attacks, taking away capacity that is needed for other urgent matters such as economic development, education, and health. ISIL's expansion in Africa deserves the full attention of the international community to ensure that this threat is not seen in isolation. Terrorist threats, including that posed by ISIL and its affiliates in Africa, can directly impact peace and security in other parts of the world. And equally, terrorist threats and developments elsewhere, including in South and Southeast Asia, can impact the terrorist threats in Africa. It is therefore imperative for us to reaffirm our commitment to a zero-tolerance approach to terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. There can be no exception or justification for any act of terrorism, regardless of motivation and wherever, whenever, and by whomsoever it is committed. As noted in paragraph 3 of the Security Council Resolution 1566 of 2004, terrorism is under no circumstances justifiable by considerations of a political, philosophical, ideological, racial, ethnical, religious, or other similar nature. In addition to seeking a new center of gravity outside its initial area of activity, the trajectory of ISIL and its affiliates in Africa discloses an insidious ambition to continue to extend its influence by exploiting armed conflicts, vulnerabilities, and ethnic fault lines, and undermining the peaceful aspirations of the societies upon which it preys. ISIL's exploitation of local contexts, pre-existing tensions, and grievances has underlined its propaganda and recruitment tactics. It is important to understand these complexities in order to bring appropriate and effective responses. Excellencies, distinguished participants, in partnership with the ISIL and Al-Qaeda Sanctions Committee and the Analytical Support and Sanctions Monitoring Team, pursuant to Resolutions 1526 of 2004 and 2253 of 2015 concerning ISIL, Al-Qaeda, and the Taliban and associated individuals and entities, the Counter-Terrorism Committee and its Executive Directorate have closely monitored these developments and the responses thus far. Since 2015, CTED, the monitoring team, and the United Nations Office of Counter-Terrorism have prepared strategic-level reports every 6 months on behalf of the Secretary General, which reflect the gravity of the threat posed by ISIL and highlights the range of United Nations efforts in support of member states in countering the threat. ISIL affiliates have established a presence in all regions of Africa. The increased use of narratives by ISIL presenting the continent at the core of its fight and showcasing the increased volume of attacks perpetrated by ISIL affiliates, which have caused a large number of casualties, clearly demonstrates its interest in Africa. In several African states where terrorist groups, including ISIL affiliates, have preyed upon local grievances and tensions, globally aligned and operationally connected terrorism is being pursued as a part of and alongside other local movements pursuing specific political and economic goals at the local and national levels. This has meant that attempts to resolve local conflicts are sometimes undertaken alongside counter-terrorism operations and strategies. It is important to recognize that ISIL and Al-Qaeda affiliates aim to destabilize democratic institutions and take advantage of inter-communal conflict. Their goals are incompatible with reinforcing the constitutional goals of internationally supported peace process. The risk that a national stabilization effort may offer an opportunity for an ISIL or Al-Qaeda affiliated group to attain state power without disavowing its affiliation with terrorism should not be underestimated. It is important to distinguish between political ideologies in a constitutional framework and radical and terrorist ideologies of terrorist groups operating outside the constitutional framework.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.